Hey there, brilliant little listeners. Welcome to Simple Stories, Smart Kids, the storytelling corner where pigs talk, princes plot, and princesses learn a thing or two about manners and mud. Today, we're diving into a story that's royal, ridiculous, and really funny. It's the tale of the swineherd. Get comfy, grab a giggle snack, and let's go. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, where the sun always seemed to shine a bit too brightly on castle windows, and the breeze chased butterflies through the royal gardens, there lived a prince. Now this prince wasn't just your ordinary, crown-wearing, dragon-fighting type of prince. No. He was clever, a little mischievous, and truth be told, just as stubborn as a mule wearing fancy shoes. Now, our prince had heard tales of a princess, the most beautiful in all the lands, whose voice was softer than fresh cake, and whose smile could melt the coldest snowflake. Naturally, as princes do, he thought, that sounds like just the person for me. So with his hair perfectly combed and his royal boots shining like two morning suns, he set off to win her heart. But this prince didn't arrive empty-handed. Oh no! He brought gifts that would make even the fanciest peacock jealous. A nightingale that sang sweeter than a candy shop, and a rose as rare as socks for turtles. It only bloomed once every 5 years, and was said to smell so lovely, you'd forget you even had homework. With gifts in hand and hope in his heart, the prince marched right up to the palace gates and bravely announced his arrival. Trumpets blared, doors squeaked open, and soon he found himself standing in front of the princess herself. She was dazzling, with twinkling eyes, and a tiara that looked like it had borrowed stars from the night sky. The prince presented his gifts with the kind of flourish that only someone who's practiced in front of a mirror can manage. "A singing nightingale!" he declared. The bird twittered its best melody. Then, a blooming rose. The petals glimmered in the sunlight. But the princess, with a yawn as big as a hippopotamus at bedtime, looked unimpressed. She studied the nightingale. She sniffed the rose. And then, in the politest voice, confectioned with just a pinch of snobbery, she turned up her nose and said, "Does it come with the latest sparkle bling case? Or maybe a glitter app?" The prince blinked. No, but it sings lovely songs and..." "Not interested." The princess waved her hand. "Maybe if it could change colors or tell jokes. Next!" Our poor prince was left standing, gifts in hand, while the palace doors shut with a humph. Rejected! Boo-hoo! But did he give up? Oh, not this prince. Where there was a will, there was a totally unexpected way. He slipped out of the palace, traded his princely robes for the smudgiest, muddiest rags he could find, and disguised himself as a humble swineherd. Yes, a pig keeper. The only thing shinier than his courage now were the pigs' snouts. He set up shop in the palace yard, tending to the royal pigs. But remember, this prince was clever. While feeding the pigs and making sure their tails curled just so, he got to work inventing curious little magical gadgets. First up, a marvelous little pot. Now you might think, a pot? Really? I see. But wait, this was no ordinary kitchenware. Whenever someone stirred it, it played merry little songs. It could even play the same tune you'd heard at the last royal ball, or your favorite bouncy rhyme about sheep and stars. How magical is that? Word of the marvelous pot spread like frosting on a hot cake. Soon, the curious princess came skipping down to the pig yard, her curiosity fizzing like soda. "Dear swineherd," she said, because of course, she didn't recognize the prince through all his mud. "What will it take to buy that musical pot?" The swineherd, bowing so low his hat almost toppled off, replied, "Only 10 kisses, your highness." You should have seen the princess's face. Her eyes popped. 10 kisses? For a pot? Yet, the thought of being the only princess in the kingdom with a singing soup pot was simply too tempting. She looked left, looked right, no one around but pigs, and quickly planted 10 little pecks on the swineherd's cheek. Delighted, she skipped away, hugging her new pot like it was a golden trophy. But that pot was only the beginning. Next, our inventive swineherd made a little rattle. But not for babies, oh no. This rattle was magic too. Shake it once, and you could hear every tune being played in every kitchen and castle parlor in all the land. The princess's curiosity returned for round 2. "What for the rattle, swineherd?" she asked, biting her lip in anticipation. The swineherd grinned. 100 kisses, princess!" She hiccuped in surprise, nearly dropping the pot. 100? That was an outrageous number. But, she reasoned, if a magical pot was worth 10 kisses, then surely a world-listening rattle was worth more, especially if it made her the talk of the next royal brunch. So, looking nervously over her shoulder and counting carefully so she wouldn't lose track, the princess delivered 100 kisses right on the swineherd's cheek. Now, the palace maids and the royal butlers were absolutely flabbergasted at this smooching spectacle. Word spread, as word tends to do, and soon the king himself poked his royal head out the window. He spied his daughter in the act and was so startled, he coughed his tea right out of his nose. "Royal outrage! Scandal!" He stormed into the yard, his crown slipping sideways. "What in the name of all royal slippers is going on here?" And he thundered. The princess, cheeks redder than a tomato in the sun, tried to explain. "It's, for a pot. And a rattle. They're musical, look!" But the king didn't care if it played sonatas by moonlight or made strawberry jam appear out of thin air. He huffed and puffed, declaring, "No daughter of mine will go around bestowing royal kisses on a pig boy." The poor swineherd prince was ordered out, the princess banished from the pig yard, and peace, or what passed for it, returned. Well, almost, as the swineherd prince trudged away, leaving a trail of piglets and sighs behind. He wiped the mud from his face and slipped out of his disguise. There, in full royal regalia, stood the prince. Shiny boots, brushed hair, noble frown and all. The princess, peeking sadly from the window, gasped. "Wait! That's the prince I turned away earlier, the one with the magic rose. Oh, what have I done?" But the prince just smiled a wry, sideways kind of smile. The kind you make when you realize you've taught someone a very important lesson. "Dear princess," he called, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "I offered you a rose and a nightingale as proof of my love, but all you wanted was a sparkly pot and a noisy rattle. Goodness, I would have married you for your kindness and your heart, not for your kisses or your curiosity for silly gifts. Farewell, and next time, look closer before you close the door." 19. And with that, the prince strode away, off to new adventures, possibly involving fewer pigs and more people who valued roses, birds, and real feelings. The princess, wiser now, and maybe just a teeny bit lonely, realized that magic wasn't always in the flashiest trinkets. Sometimes it was in the gifts given with love, or a very, very patient prince disguised as a peasant. If you walk by a royal pig yard today, you might just hear the echo of a musical pot or the giggle of a clever swineherd. And if you ever meet a prince or princess, remember, before you ask for all the latest gadgets, see what treasure might already be right in front of you, disguised as something simple and beautiful. And as for our story, well, the pigs certainly missed their ingenious swineherd, though they got back to regular piggy business soon enough. The prince? He found another kingdom with less fussy princesses and more appreciation for truthful gifts, and he lived happily, if a teensy bit on the muddy side, ever after. So, if you ever meet a nightingale or see a rose blooming out of season, give it a chance. And if anyone ever asks for 10 kisses in exchange for a singing pot, look closer. There might just be a hidden story, a lesson, or even a prince underneath all that mud. And that's the end of the swineherd. A tale with pigs, pride, and a whole lot of puckered-up kisses. If you had fun today, give us a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Simple Stories, Smart Kids for more magical, silly, and smart stories every day. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and never trade kisses for cookware.